What's up, guys? What a breaking news for the Chicago Bears. What a breaking day, I should say. Big news. DJ Moore traded to the Buffalo Bills in return for a second rounder. So awesome haul. That does show that he did have wide receiver one value, whether some fans agreed with that or not. It just kind of got stuck between a rock and a hard place in Chicago, being, the guy that helped transition, end of Justin into Caleb, being that veteran presence, having 1,000-yard seasons with mediocre quarterbacks before, and then the Bears going out and just getting massive upgrades to our wide receiver tight end room that we've never seen in Chicago before. We've never had that, so it's unfamiliar. Same thing, we've never had a franchise quarterback before. So these things, this is new treading water, new found glory for the Bears and Bears fans. So it's a good place to be in. Good teams go through issues like this. So here's the details of the trade. That's a little small. Let me just make it big and get me off for a minute. So the Bears end up getting the second round pick of the Buffalo Bills, pick 60 in the second round, 60th overall. The Bills get DJ Moore and our fifth rounder. This is not far off of what I proposed in my mock draft yesterday morning. Like, it's very close, actually. This is actually a little better value than what I proposed. I proposed us swapping our third for the Patriots' second and fourth, which would have equated to high third round value. Well, if you look at the bottom there, the difference of 78 points puts the value of DJ Moore's trade at the very first pick. Number one pick is 78 points in value on the Rich Hill trade value chart. So it'd be worth 365. In other words, if you wanted to trade up from 365 to 260, you'd need to give up that fifth rounder, 163, to do it. So both teams keep the same amount of picks, and the Bears come away with a second rounder, which is extremely valuable in this year's draft. Very valuable, especially that range 1 to about 15 is going to be your blue chippers in this draft, and then all the way to about 75. I apologize for that. All the way to about 75 is that range where you get the next tier of really solid, should be starter players. Then 75 down to, I'd say, about 130 is going to be that range of guys where it's really good potential, but they're going to have to prove it in camp to make a starting spot. So the Bears, as it sits now, with 125, 257, and 260, should be able to pluck three starters. Whether they're top tier starters, blue chippers, maybe we can get away with a really solid guy that drops to us at 25. And then a couple guys that you just hope you find, like a Luther Burden type situation at 57 and 60. This is good value for the Bears, so I'm very happy with it. Karl is going to be with us soon. I was just on the phone with him. He's just running a little late. Both of us work 9-to-5 jobs. I cut out early to do this. He's coming home from his. I work from home for my other one most of the time, so I work from home for that. So do appreciate you guys tuning in. He'll be here very shortly. We got a lot to talk about today, and if you follow me on Twitter, there's some fun things to talk about too. Adam's getting his hands in hot water again. He likes to poke the Bears sometimes. Not the Bears, but I like to poke around a little bit and have a little bit of fun. It's my thing. All right, we're having fun here. Let's check out who's in the chat. 150 of you in the chat, so I do appreciate you tuning in. If you don't mind hitting that like button, get her done. It's worth it. This is going to be a fun episode. Lots of fun will start coming now. In fact, let's get to the chat first. Then I'll get to the schedule. Then we'll get to Karl. Then we'll get to the breaking news and all that's not breaking news this morning. But all right, we got Aero I3880. If we get the Ian Cunningham third round comp pick this year, we'll be in a pretty good position to make solid improvements. Center will likely be a step back, but I hope we go get Crosby monster. I completely agree with all of that, except I don't know if we have to take a step back at center. And I'm not trash talking on Drew Dalman. We'll pull it up here in a little bit, but Drew Dalman, he had pass pro issues before we got him. The Bears clearly went out and got him for his run game ability. He's one of the best run blockers. Tyler Linderbaum, very, very similar to Drew Dalman. More expensive, though. So I'm not on that bandwagon. I'd rather see the money spent elsewhere, but really good in run blocking. His pass pro was subject, and it showed at the end of the season. He had one of the worst grades of his career against the Rams, but Drew Dalman was very solid for us, a Pro Bowler, not trashing it. We had years of issues. It's something we can get good value, though, and this is a good draft to do it. Realist Fufu's in the chat. Anthony YF5X is in the chat. Ronald Cole 7656 is in the chat. J8K3D18. Now, this is all I get, guys. I get your @ symbols now. I don't get names anymore, so I apologize. You guys can change the @ symbols if you want, though, but that's up to you guys. So Caleb Lover 18 is in the chat, and this is a good one. Sad that DJ had to go. Loved having him here. However, feels like it's been almost a foregone conclusion recently that him and Edmonds were likely going to be moved, and I completely agree, especially when you saw at Sylvia and Waddle. In fact, we're going to bring up that a little clip from that when Karl Ryan in just a minute. When Ryan Poles was in not his official presser from the combine, he was sitting with Sylvia and Waddle and Sylvia, however you want to say it, at the combine. Very exclusive interview, and I enjoyed that one thoroughly. I don't enjoy everything they have, but that was a really good interview where Ryan Poles was very honest, and they said, "Will DJ Moore be a Bear in 2026?" And he was very open and honest and talked about the cap constraints, how we've got to clear some guys just to make room for the signings. We're going to go over that today. Those of you who love the salary cap, we're going to hit the salary cap today. I'm going to do it. Everyone's asking for it. I wanted to wait till after free agency started because the reality is free agency is where that's really going to change. You're going to see the big movement there. But people want to know where we realistically stand. And after watching, CHGO and all these, tons of programs. I watched a bunch of them today where they're all saying, we can go all in now. That's just not reality. Now, I'll make it abundantly clear. If we can land Maxx Crosby, I'm all for it. I am 100% all in. Manipulate the crap out of that cap. Sign Kevin Byard to a 15-year deal where he's playing for 4, and we've got 13 years of dead cap paying him $1 million a year. Do it. Get it done so that we can sign Maxx Crosby. I would love it. I don't see that happening. The whole reason this channel started, guys, was to give realistic takes and not to give the hype takes. I don't want to give the hype. I have an accounting background. I've run business. But at the end of the day, I'm not an insider. I'm not, Tom Pelissaro. I'm not Adam Schefter. I don't know anything more than any of your beat guys in Chicago. I'm not the inside source. I just know what the salary cap looks like, and I play with it, and I try to think, what would I do as a GM? I don't see us going on a huge big game hunting trip this offseason, but I would also love it if they did it. I would be elated. So there's my official stances. We got Philip Palmisano. I apologize. 5243 in the chat. Wally's in here. Wally Bismarck. Once 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at PD34. That's a good question, and I would say one of the guys in the roster now will likely do that. That's my official prediction. I absolutely think Colston Loveland, DJ Moore. I'm sorry, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, or Romo Dunze. I think one of those 3 guys could absolutely do it. Let's see here. This is one of my harder things. Karl helps me with this stuff, but Antmus is in the chat. Florida Bears fan is in the chat. Stanry's in the chat. A lot of faithfuls to the channel. Do appreciate you guys tuning in. Mr. Chi-Town Bears is in the chat. CJG04 is in the chat. James Horner is in the chat. Let's see. Andrew VYN 2325 is in the chat. We got Creighton Wilfong in the chat. He says, I am here. I like it when you're here, Creighton. 200 in the chat now. So as soon as Karl gets here, there's going to be some fun stuff. And I do have some stuff on Maxx Crosby. Like, I've got some legit stuff on Maxx Crosby. If any of you are on Twitter, you saw me going, I guess, head-to-head with Benjamin Albright today, calling him out on his lie. And I'm not an insider. He's supposed to be. But the reality is he's really like a Carm. Like, for the Broncos, that's really what he is. He's like a Carm. He's not like an insider type of thing. So anyways, yo, what's up? Wally says. Matthew Parker's in the chat. TJ Kelly's in the chat. Try to get to all these, man. You guys are flying through here. If I miss any, Alex is my name-o is in the chat. Michael Frazier's in the chat. Rodiub95 is in the chat. All right, I'm trying to hit as many as I can. If I miss anybody, I sincerely apologize. Assessio1213, he loves the salary cap. Everyone does. I hate doing the salary cap right now because it's going to change this next week. And here's the big reason why. Here's the upcoming dates for the Bears. We've got so a couple of those top ones are already done. Tag deadline, March 3rd. That just happened. Free agency negotiation period, tampering period is allowed in 4 days. So that's when you're going to start hearing the rumors of this players. You're going to start hearing about the signings on the 9th. But then the new league year starts on the 11th. And that's when the actual signings can happen. That's when the DJ Moore trade will go through officially. And then restricted free agency deadline happens April 18th. Team with returning head coaches can get to work. The NFL draft happens April 23rd to the 25th. And then Ben Johnson and the Bears can have their first offseason workouts officially the beginning of May. So that's when all of that will occur. All right, let's see. Adam might be the worst pronunciator of names on YouTube. I'm not going to dispute it. Not my thing. I'm terrible at it. I still get Trapillo wrong all the time. You guys correct me and tell me it's Trapillo. All right. It takes me 15 years to get these guys, and then finally I do, and then they get traded away. Karl, I'm just going through the chat. What's up, buddy?
Mr. Adam, Bear Down Sports, how are we doing today?
Just trying to hit anybody else in the chat that I missed. E-Force is in the chat. Let's see. I can't even pronounce these names, and I apologize. Aterigo 607's in the chat. Yeah, Cam Jordan hitting free agency for the first time, which is going to be wild. Will he retire? Will he sign somewhere? He's been a Saint his whole career. Stamuel is here. He's waiting on that R. Mason Thomas video still. So, all right, Karl, now that you're here, this is the first thing we've hit. DJ Moore has been traded. Bears got second-round pick, number 60 overall. Bills got, I apologize, need a little swig here. The Bills got DJ Moore and fifth-round pick, number 163, which is 10 points in the Rich Hill trade value chart. Essentially, this is worth pick 365, which is the very first pick of the third round if you're going off the Rich Hill trade value chart. Essentially meaning, if we wanted to come up from 65 to 60 where our pick is, we need to give up 163 to get there. So DJ Moore is worth a late second, early third rounder for us. And it's a beautiful thing. How do you feel about DJ Moore getting traded, buddy?
Well, I would never come on the show and tell you that I told you so.
I'm ready.
I would never tell you that, right? I never predicted that DJ Moore could be dealt to the Buffalo Bills at the end of the 2024 season, right?
Okay, so hold on.
Just past season started. I would never do that, Adam.
Lay some foundation. Mid last season, Karl and I have been doing this for a while now, man. We've been chatting it up here for a while. So I do appreciate you, Karl. I got to send you a jersey. You pick the jersey. I'm committing now to send you a jersey to your house. Colston Loveland sounds like the right one to do.
Incorrect. Already got that one.
Common on, guys?
I actually already had that would be a fun one. I had a Colston Loveland jersey delivered to my doorstep before Colston Loveland ever even took a preseason snap with the Chicago Bears. So
beautiful. All right.
The
first round pick of 2026. I'm sending you the jersey for that. Karl, I love you. Good friend of mine. Just to lay foundation, before the trade deadline, this is October of last year. Karl said we should trade DJ Moore. And I said, not going to happen, period. I don't even see us trading him next offseason. Well, we get through the rest of the season. Colston Loveland does what he does. Luther Burden comes on strong like he does. You even got Ja'Day Walker in the wings. And I came around. I gave Karl credit, and I said, you know what? After all these, you saw the vision. I'm more open to it now, especially with our cap space. So, Karl, you got that one right. I was a little late to the party, but I have been doing a mock draft of trading DJ Moore all off season since then. But
and I don't want to gloat, and I'm not happy about this news for the record. I'm not.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that when the first pick of your new regime and the second pick of the new regime is drafting a pass catcher back to back, coming the year after you drafted a wide receiver, 9th overall. The writing has always been on the wall, and it has 100% zero to do with DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a fantastic football player. He is the recipient of a football game, winning of a football game that made me literally cry. I have never cried over a football game until DJ Moore caught the football from Caleb Williams against the Green Bay Packers.
Well, and he just stood up at the end of your awards and got an award for that. Like, he stood up in front of all the rest of the NFL.
Yes, it was the moment of the year, right? Yeah. Something of that nature. So, again, not to say that play will live in infamy, but it will be something that I remember at the top, right? Like, when you die, isn't there a thing where you kind of go through the last, go through 8 minutes of your memories or something like that? That's going to be one of those memories, as silly as that might sound. So
no, man, I've got great memories. And you know what? The other end of this, and I think a few people have started talking about it now. phenomenal of the Bears to send him to Josh Allen, because look at what he's played with before Caleb Williams. Now he finally gets Caleb. Well,
I was gonna say, so I what I've learned from doing these shows with yourself and Bears Country Podcast and any other schmuck that wants to have me on the show, I say schmuck with the highest level of respect.
Sure.
And we're gonna get into some of the weeds here with who we're interfacing with on Twitter, all these good things, right, Mr. Benjamin?
I already brought it up.
At the end of the day, just follow the tea leaves and kind of the prior connections. And there was one that I really missed. Don't steal my thunder. I will let you know exactly what I'm talking about in a second, but let me get to it, okay? Lots and lots of below-the-belt handshakes between the Bears and the Bills on the past 2 draft days. On top of the Bears already trying to acquire and eventually acquiring Ryan Bates from the Bills. There's a lot of cross-contamination, if you will, between those 2 general managers. And that general manager was retained through a coaching change halfway, right? You still have your offensive coordinator, who is now your head coach, and the general manager, of course, is still there. But the one that I missed, and I wish I would have known this, and I would have been a lot more bullish on this DJ Moore to Buffalo transaction, if you will. I didn't know that Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers when DJ Moore was in Carolina. When you have all that information and looking at this in hindsight, how could you not have predicted this, is my opinion on the matter.
Yeah,
and again, I agree with your sentiment, just to cap off. Good player, getting paid a good salary, going to a good football team who is very much in the chance to try and win a Super Bowl. Fantastic.
And if you haven't heard, they've locked in more of his guarantees. They've locked in more guarantees for 2026, 2027, and 2028. So they've locked him up for more guarantees to DJ. So all the details of that contract, don't know, but he's getting more guarantees. Did they restructure? I don't know all the details of that yet, but they like him. And the rumor, we do that in quotations because we're not insiders on this channel. The rumor is several teams were in on DJ Moore, and the Bills were the ones that ended up wanting the most with, Brady and all of the situation there, and they paid a late second, early third round value for him, and away we go. So it's phenomenal for both teams. It's the best situation for DJ. He still gets a very quality, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's now the wide receiver 1 again instead of wide receiver 3 and even 4 on the pecking chart if you count Colston Loveland as tight end as the wide receiver room, because you got Rome Odunze and Luther Burden ahead of him. And, so it's the best for everybody. It's the best for the Bears. They clear cap space. They get draft capital this year. And I just mentioned before you came on, this draft class, this is a very valuable pick because 1 through 15 is kind of considered your blue chippers in this draft. And then 15 through about 75 is your guys that should be quality starters. Maybe not blue chippers, but they should be starting. 75 through 120-ish, 130-ish is going to be your guys that could be competing for starting jobs. But this is a good draft to have 57 and 60 along with 25.
Yeah. And again, maybe, just maybe, and I don't know how I'm going to phrase this. This is not something that I've put too much thought into, but I've thought about these football players in this upcoming draft and what their absolute floor is. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech being mocked to the Bears and these other teams. I've literally seen Jacob Rodriguez mocked to all 32 football teams, whether it be in the second or the third round.
Right.
If I had to tell you each player what their absolute floor is, I wonder if Jacob Rodriguez's floor is 26. Buffalo would love that football player. So is there any way that you can say, okay, we gave you DJ Moore, we didn't get the biggest return, however you want to spin it. How can we get Jacob Rodriguez on our football team? Can you pass this player? Can we get this pick? I don't know. Really spitballing here, but just saying something like that. There's a lot of these interwebbing connections in the back end that we as Bears fans will call us outsiders. We'll never know. And a lot of the insiders will never know either.
Some of the stuff with those things, you're jumping into, you switch topics on me, which is fine.
100%.
But Jacob Rodriguez, great prospect, but the problem with this year's draft, you don't know until the draft what happens. But the problem with there being several linebackers that tested really well and showed up, Jacob Rodriguez did, Kyle Lewis did, Tarian York did, Jack Kelly, who I was in love with, but I thought it was just my personal bias, had one of the greatest combine performances ever, right up there. I mean, he tested on certain aspects better than anybody in history, and he was a 7th round prospect. So when you have this many linebackers that performed that well, it can push some of them up, but it can also put the whole group in like, okay, well, there's lots of options we like. Is this really the guy that we have to have, or are there several options for us here? We won't know until draft day if Jacob Rodriguez is worth a first rounder or worth a third rounder.
Let me try and get back on the saddle here and keep this more streamlined, okay? As far as that draft pick that we're acquiring in the trade for DJ Moore, that pick is 100% a pick that needs to be selected with the intention of that football player starting and contributing to your football team immediately. Just like my gripe with Ozzie Trapillo, right? Any of you guys who want to say that I was slandering Ozzie Trapillo, go pound sand. I was frustrated at the fact that high of a draft investment was made into a player that wasn't starting. I wanted that player to start irrelevant of how good or bad Ozzie Trapillo was. Now, we are going to be getting, you said, the value is the first pick of the third round, but we're actually drafting higher than that because we had to give up the player and a pick. So what is the exact point again? It's pick overall number 60?
Yeah.
What was Shamar Turner last year? He was 62?
Right. Yeah, right at the end of the second round for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so case in point, pick 60 for the Chicago Bears. I don't really care who it is.
Yeah, but saying last year's draft was the same as
Bears.
This year's draft isn't quite the same. This year has maybe more starters, is what I was pointing out there. More blue chip from 1 to 15-ish is what we should say from this draft. 15 to 75 should be starters. Last year, I don't know, that fringe round was right there by Shamar Turner, right at the 55-60 range, maybe even shorter. So you didn't have quite as many should-be day one starters last year. This year should have more, but maybe a few less blue chippers. Next year draft is going to have even more blue chippers. I don't know how deep it is yet. I got to dive into them more, but I think we get more value at 60 than we did 62 last year. Like this 60 pick is more valuable than the 62 pick last year that we traded back and generated. So I'm actually excited.
As a general manager, when you're acquiring picks, you don't have to just settle for 2026. You can do these things and have your projections and be so bold as to say, well, no, I want 2027, all these things, right? So if that's the evaluation that you have, I sure hope that our general manager has that same evaluation, because at the end of the day, pick 60 in the 2026 NFL draft needs to start for the Chicago Bears, in my opinion. Last thing I've got in the DJ Moore trade is, and I'm losing it fast. There we go. And again, I'm not trying to poke fun at you or be negative to you, Adam, but when you look at this wide receiver room, a lot of guys maybe would have said, Jade Walker, undrafted free agent, he's a jag. He's just another guy. Well, all of a sudden, Jade Walker's catching very important footballs at the end of Packers games to catch touchdowns to go into overtime. And it's not necessarily that Jade Walker's this standout, iconic future gold jacket player. It's that our quarterback and our offensive mastermind, Ben Johnson, are really goddamn good at their jobs. So you don't necessarily need to pay a wide receiver a shit ton of money to get a lot of production. You saw what that did for a guy like Tom Brady when they went out and got Randy Moss. They went undefeated and obviously lost in the playoffs, the Super Bowl. But you have an undefeated season if you have that iconic, Hall of Fame to Hall of Fame connection. But the Bears don't have to rely on that. Caleb Williams can extend the pocket. He can extend the play outside of the pocket. And it doesn't matter if it's DJ Moore, Zacchaeus, Jade Walker. Practice, catch the ball, because Lord knows that the Bears receivers dropped the ball way too often last year. But again, not to say that we don't need DJ Moore. It's nice to have him, but I think that the route that you're going is proving that you can get it done with some guys who are a little bit lesser quality and spread the wealth, so to speak, to other components of your offense and your entire roster.
Well, and with what you just said, I think one of the things is consistency. I've talked about bringing Olamide Zacchaeus back. Some people really hate that idea, but you can get him cheap. But with Rome Odunze, with Luther Burden, with Colston Loveland, with Cole Kmet, with and then maybe bring a Olamide Zacchaeus. The thing with Caleb, what you just said, the drops, he's even talked about that and said, I would rather throw a fastball and have a receiver not catch it or drop it than have it intercepted. The faster you throw it, the harder you throw it, is what he said. The less likely it is to be intercepted. Now, he was quoting somebody else when he said that. But these guys have consistency with him now. So now you've got a year under your belt with these guys, 2 years for some of them. Cole Kmet, 2 years with him. Rome Odunze, 2 years with him, minus the injury portions or whatever. Bring Olamide Zacchaeus back for another year. These guys have consistency. I'm not opposed to bringing somebody else in, even as who's your favorite guy, Zachariah Branch or whoever it was? I think that's who you like.
Yeah, man. And again, my just to put really stomp this right when it's in the middle here, right? Zachariah Branch is not a player who I want the Bears to add as a wide receiver because I think we need a down the field threat, all these things, right?
Sure.
Go get Mooney if you need a down the field threat. We can talk about that. But Zachariah Branch in the 3rd round, if you can get your hands on him. Hell, now you got 2 second-round picks. If you want to try and reincarnate Devin Hester, that's the player to try that with. Just saying.
Just saying. And now that the point of that wasn't that. It's more of I think we're okay. I think we're okay without DJ. I apologize. I'm sitting here drinking a Red Bull. I forgot about the bubblies, but I needed to pick me up.
Well, Adam, compose
Official
yourself.
sponsor of the channel today, Red Bull gives you wings.
After my sign behind me had been asking for a Go sponsorship for like 2 straight years, understood. Yeah, I do not support that message. Anyway, final thing here too. You're not shipping DJ Moore anywhere if you didn't hit the way that you did on both Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, and Colson Loveland.
Nail it. It gave the Bears flexibility is what it did. And then with that salary, and if the salary cap wasn't as high as it was with how the Bears structured that, now DJ earned that contract when it happened. He was here to help make the transition for a Caleb to come in. But, like you said, then we went and got an Colson
Adam
Loveland and a Luther Burden. Now that that's happened, that contract kind of had to go. And we're going to pull up the salary cap here because so many people asked for it.
You're spot on here. The reason that you paid DJ Moore that money is because you needed that presence to bring Caleb along. I think it's very plausible to say that Caleb Williams' ascension in this current NFL with his current state, people, the idiots on Fox Sports talking about the Mahomes Mountain all the time, right? I've seen Caleb Williams in the top 5 in the Mahomes Mountain. There's no chance that he's that high without DJ Moore. Let's get that straight as well. I don't want my proposed trade for DJ Moore 18 months ago to be seen as a negative on DJ Moore. I love DJ Moore, and I might get his Bills jersey at this point. I don't know.
I got to hit this one because Steve Rogers is hitting my language here. I don't think the Bears like BYU players, though. I don't think they ever even look at them. But you're speaking my language here with Chase Roberts. You want a prospect to go look at? He's probably more like a 5th, 6th rounder. He's a Puka type of player. We still have weapons. Poles needs to hit big in this draft, big time. LSU has some very quick wide receivers, but I do like Chase Roberts from BYU in the 7th. I do too. Just there you go, Karl. You throw your Michigan plugs all the time. I like Chase Roberts. He's a phenomenal athlete. But
you can correct me if I'm wrong. There was a tight end that was essentially the number 1 pass-catching tight end for the Chicago Bears directly after the Bears traded away Greg Olsen to the Carolina Panthers. Was that player named Kellen Davis?
Oh, from BYU?
That's what I'm trying to get at. Wasn't that tight end from BYU?
Yeah, you're making me scratch my memory bank. But yeah, Kellen Davis is a name I remember from BYU. I don't know how well he did in the NFL.
Brandon Moss, 52-47, you're wrong. No one is forgetting about Jahdae Walker.
Yeah, it's okay.
I have documented proof on my Twitter that I'm calling Jahdae Walker a top 100 wide receiver in the NFL. Let's go to war.
So, Karl, here's the question nobody's really talking about now. Now we have a 1st, 2 seconds, a 3rd, a 4th, no 5th, 6th, and 2 7ths. Ryan Poles always works something to generate some picks. I would kind of expect something, whether it's the 3rd rounder or the 4th rounder, to trade back and get a little more value to hit some in those 5th, 6th range. Do you think he's going to do the same? I don't know if he's going to touch pick 25, 57, or 60. I kind of think you got to take best player available there. But
let me see if I can pull up what picks the Bears have. Didn't the Bears acquire a day 3 pick in a trade with the Rams last year?
No, it's day 4, and we lost our own 4 by trading.
You mean 4th round?
Yeah. 4th, yeah, day 3, yeah, 4th round.
I mean, day 3, it was like a 4th, 5th round.
Correct. It's 4th rounder. That's the Rams pick, but we traded our own 4th rounder to get Joe Thuney. Mm-hmm. So our pick is gone. We don't have our 4th rounder. We have the Rams 4th rounder. That's
right, but we own. Yeah, we have the Rams 4th round pick. So
right. So
again,
right now
you lose that 5th.
I can do this off memory. We have number 25. We have number 57. We have number 60. We have number 89. We have the Rams 4th rounder, which is like 129. We have our own 5th rounder, which is 163. And then we have 2 round 7 as of right now, which is like 239 and 241. Well, we lost 163. Sorry. We lost 163. We traded that for DJ Moore. So sorry, let's do it again. 25, 57, 60. In the 3rd round, we have 89. In the 4th round, we have 129. Now we don't have anything till the last 2 in the 7th round, 239, 241. So we go from 129 to 239, and 241. So we have a gap there. So I would expect one of those, kind of
the last time that Ryan Poles had back-to-back second-round picks, and the Bears were coming off a season where they were dubbed as having the worst secondary in the NFL, you fix the secondary immediately with 2 draft picks. Not to say that that would happen twice, but if we're talking about needing to acquire a safety,
the last time he had 2 second-round picks was last year. He had 239 and 241, and he traded back from 41.
Sure. So maybe I can definitively say it was the first time then, because it was his first time as a general manager.
Which, looking back, I disagree with. I really wanted us to pick at 41 several players that we had mocked. Your cornerback from Michigan was one of them that I was like, this guy's not being drafted yet. Let's pick him up.
Right, and the argument will never be determined soon. It'll depend on if Shamar Turner essentially gets a second contract from the Bears, if we're being blunt. So I hear that point. Again, we're looking at picks 25, 57, 60, and 89.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 4 picks, I expect 3 starters.
I would expect those first 3 in this year's draft to all get picked. No trades, unless it's a trade up from 57, say, to somewhere at 44 range, 47 range, trade up to get someone. I would be shocked if we trade back from 57 or 60, because those 2 picks in this draft, like I said, between 15 and 75 are genuine, should be day 1 starters. So I'll be shocked if we trade back from 57 or 60.
And hey, there's rumblings in the chat. Let's just address the belly of the beast here. I mean, you might be adding your Ian Cunningham comp pick as well. Don't rule it out. It's true. Not definitive, right? Just like
we'll know in 1 week. 1 week from right now, we will know.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just like Adam Mason, Bear Down Sports, Swift Sports Network, DJ Moore will never get traded, right? Courtney Cronin, the Bears are not getting comp picks. All right, Courtney. We'll see what happens.
So some in the chat are asking what it would cost to trade up into the 40 range. So let's say we're going from 57 and we're trying to trade up, and we're going to use our 3rd rounder to trade up. That's what you're going to have to use. You're going to go up into the roughly 42nd pick is what I pulled up on that mock draft I proposed. The exact value from going to 57 to 42 would be giving up number 89. That's the value of giving up number 89. It's trading away your 3rd rounder, number 87, to get up to 42. Now they could do some form of swaps, come up to 47 and give up our 3rd, but get back a 4th in return. Those things are all possible. That happens all the time, but that's just a rough value range of what it would cost to get up into the 40s.
It is what it is.
All right, let's do salary cap. You guys are all curious about salary cap. Here's the stuff that needs to be laid out. We have not created enough space to go trade for a Maxx Crosby. We haven't done that. Now, Karl, I want you to use your infamous words. The salary cap is what?
It's beyond a myth. I mean, it's literally fake.
Okay, so I have no clue what's going to happen. You have no clue. Joe Blow down the street has no clue. Benjamin Albright has no clue what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The Bears can absolutely trade for Maxx Crosby. Do I think they will do it based on this channel's approach and my analytical accounting background, looking at it? No, I don't think we're going to do it. Would I be elated to the moon if Maxx Crosby is wearing burnt orange and navy blue next year? Abso-frickin-lutely. I will be beyond stoked. But let's review the cap here. So I don't have a pointer when we use StreamYard, so I hate it. I can't use my pointer, but we'll just start at the top. 2026 has a column there, and you'll see that's the salary cap we're on the hook for this year. Now, you see the little blue at the bottom? We're still on the cap hook for DJ Moore for $12 million this year. That's the dead cap for him. In the trade, we created $16.5 million of cap space. So we've opened up some cap space. We'll show that at the end. But I think the biggest thing that I'm going to show through all these little cap pictures that I'm showing, I just did screenshots of my little, my Excel document that I do. And these are all accurate. They're double checked as of today. So you got some missing pieces. You still got to sign a QB3. You still, need another running back, whoever it is. Now, some people will say, well, we have Britton Brown and we have whoever the other one. I got to look at my sheets, but I'm not counting
Hankins?
guys. Yeah, Deion Hankins. I'm not counting. So Spotrac and Over the Cap will count 53 players as of right now, or 51 because it's preseason. I'm not counting the guys that were, reserves or practice squad players. I'm taking actual account into what the salary cap will look like when we need to add actual players to this. Okay. So there's your wide receivers. You got 3. We'll probably add at least 2 more. Let's go to the next section. It's going to be, no, that's the defensive backs. I don't have them labeled. All right. So here's the next one. There's your tight ends. You got 2 tight ends, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland. We're going to need a tight end 3. There's your lineman. Drew Dalman's going to cost us $4 million in dead cap, but it did create, 10 million in cap space. You got Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson. Some of these can be, like you said, it's manipulative. It's you can play with the salary cap. There's things we can do, but we need a center. We need another guard, whether that's Jordan McFadden or somebody else. We need a left tackle, and we'll probably need one more too, because don't forget, Ozzy Trapillo is going to start the year on the IR and probably spend all of next year on the IR. So we'll probably need a couple of tackles, whoever that be.
If I may interject and stop you right there, we'll just kind of dial into the offensive line discussion here. You're spot on with Ozzy Trapillo. It would be absolute 100% malpractice to assume that Ozzy Trapillo could ever take a snap for you in the 2026 NFL season. He needs to be a man who's going to be like Karan Amagaji, on the roster by name, not by trade. He cannot be considered for anything as far as your plans at the left tackle position or anything else. Center, and I'm going back and forth or just commenting with a lot of people in the chat. A lot of discussion as to who we can get, and we don't have to dial into that just yet. I just am very curious, Adam, on your thoughts and your confidence and your initial reaction, if and only if the Bears said that Luke Newman would be the starting center for the 2026 season.
Yeah,
would you feel comfortable with that?
I love it. I'm commenting nonstop on Twitter. I love it. I doubt the Bears would only roll into the season with Luke Newman. I see the center position this year. I don't think we're going after a Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think we're spending that much money on him. The reason I think they brought in Tyler, I always get his name, the pronunciation. You guys
Biadasz.
Biadasz.
Yeah,
I called him Badass 2 years ago so much that I can't even Biadasz. Either way, I think they brought him in because, remember, he got cut by the Commanders because of the ankle and foot injuries at the end of the year. And they had a guy stepping up in the wing behind him, so they didn't cut him for cap space reasons. They cost him $7 million dead cap to cut him, and they only saved $2 million. It wasn't a big cap space thing. It was more of this is an injury thing. So the Bears bring him in. I think that's exactly why they brought him in, because he's not a typical free agent. You can sign him before a free agency starts, and you say, hey, we want to see how serious this injury concern is. Is this a guy that we can get for cheap to compete with Luke Newman and to maybe draft a guy? And the same thing the Bears did at left tackle next year. Let's have Luke Newman, Tyler Biadasz, and a rookie compete for the starting gig here. Best man wins. And if that so happens to be Tyler Biadasz or Luke Newman or the rookie, fantastic. So I'm all for Luke Newman if he earns the job, but I don't think they'll leave it just to that. I think they'll bring in some competition for sure.
Yeah. So again, I feel like you are doing this thing where, okay, Tyler Linderbaum costs too much money. Let's kind of micro-analyze him and say, oh, this certain statistic is bad. That means that we shouldn't overpay him, all these things. Karl, I hate this term because of what someone has told me, but I'm going to use it, and I apologize in advance if it offends anyone. Call a spade a spade. Tyler Linderbaum is arguably the best center in the entire NFL, along with Creed Humphrey. You cannot debate that. That's a
huge gap. It's Creed Humphrey, nobody else.
And I disagree. Okay. I mean, Tyler Linderbaum is the truth. If you were to sign him, you would be upgrading from Drew Dalman. There's no questions about it. The thing here is that should you be allocating even more assets to that position, even though you're recouping a little bit of money from the retirement? I don't know if you should. If you do it, I'm happy, but I would much prefer a guy like Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern is going to be one of those stopgaps. Well, he's not going to be as expensive as Tyler Linderbaum. Connor McGovern's an upgrade to anyone else that you have at the roster who would play the center position. And it would be more of a stopgap position for you trying to figure out that position for the long term in the future. And maybe that is Luke Newman, and maybe he just needs a little bit more time. And that's why you'd get a guy like Connor McGovern to stay competitive at that position in the Super Bowl window as you're rolling over to the rookie that you drafted in, the 6th, 7th round last year. Alternatively, and this is a name that I don't think anyone's going to bring up, in my opinion, if Drew Dalman was to have missed any time last year, which by the grace of God he did not,
Right.
I think that the replacement for Drew Dalman in 2025 would have been Ryan Bates. And that is a player who's familiar with the system. I just told you a little while ago that the Chicago Bears absolutely adored him to the point where they chased after him for years and years. He's a free agent, to my understanding. He's not a member of the roster right now. Don't be surprised if after this recent development with Drew Dalman that you go back and see if what you've got, so to speak, with Ryan Bates.
Okay, so I get there's excitement that people have around players when it's a potential signing for the Bears. Creed Humphrey is in an entire league by himself. 8 pressures allowed.
According to PFF.
Okay, let's just look at the stats.
Which is owned by Chris Collinsworth.
Okay, you're going on a tirade for no reason. 8 pressures allowed total. 8 pressures on 742 pass blocking opportunities. Tyler Linderbaum is a fantastic center. I'm not saying I'd be pissed off if we signed him. I think he's too expensive for what he provides. I think we have bigger needs. We'll get back to the salary cap in a minute. All right. Tanner Bortolini, if I'm at the Colts, I'm freaking excited to the moon. They got him for a mid-round pick a couple years ago. Fantastic. Tyler Linderbaum, 26 pressures on 536 opportunities. I get it. His guards around him weren't as good. Creed Humphrey had whatever his name is in Kansas City next to him, who's a phenomenal. I get it. I'm not saying Tyler Linderbaum is bad. I'm saying Creed Humphrey is by far the number 1 center in the league. It's not even disputable. Tyler Linderbaum, not bad. He's also not as good at pass pro. He's just like Drew Dalman. Look at the two next to each other, allowing 20+ pressures when all these other guys here at the top, where they make up for it is then their run blocking. And the Bears do love run blocking. So I'm not disputing, hey, they could go after Tyler Linderbaum because we want to keep the run game going in Chicago. I get that. Tyler Linderbaum, phenomenal run blocker. Not the same level as Creed Humphrey, though, if we're being honest, and we're splitting hairs here and going apples for apples, though, buddy. My opinion.
Yeah. Again, you could take the idea that free agency, the players that hit free agency for a reason because they're not as good, right?
Well,
I do understand that.
His is a salary cap issue. The only reason
right.
The Ravens aren't re-signing him is salary
That's
cap.
what I'm alluding to here. So Linderbaum, and I know that I cannot think of Greg Gabriel's name. Greg Gabriel, very bullish on Twitter, right? Oh, Linderbaum will never make that much money. He's just another guy. He'll never make that much money. Let's put some money on it, Greg. You're going to see a football player get overpaid because he's a free agent, because of a circumstance, and at the end of the day, Tyler Linderbaum is fantastic, and I am certain that he would be an upgrade to Drew Dalman. So that's all I'll go. That's as far as I'll go on that specifically. But again, Tyler Linderbaum, not my preferred choice with all the information. In a vacuum, it's an upgrade.
Well, let's get it clear. I love the idea of Tyler Linderbaum. I don't love the idea of his price tag that comes with him with all the needs we have, and we're going through that here. So next needs. All right, here's your edge and your linebackers. Excuse me. I've assumed that Tremaine Edmonds is, at the bottom there with his cap gone. So that's included in here, that $15 million savings. This is his dead cap after he's either traded or cut. There's a reason the Bears have stated, and Albert Breer and several others have said the Bears have given him permission to seek a trade. And if he's not traded by the time his kicker, what's it called? His bonus, his roster bonus at the league year kicks in, that they will cut him before that if he's not traded before then. Okay. So that's pretty much news. So I've included it in here. Tremaine Edmonds, dead cap, $2.437 million. We need a couple linebackers. We need a couple defensive tackles. We need a couple defensive ends. Okay. Now we're rolling forward. We got the cornerbacks and secondary. We've got need here at free safety, and backups. So there's need there. We also don't have a long snapper kick. All right. Look at the bottom there. That's our total salary cap as of right now. 258, 645, 538. If you're counting the guys that will actually be on the roster with 32 players. Now think about that. You got to have 53 on the roster. That's 32. We need 21 more. The 39 next to it is because we have 7 draft picks. Okay. So count those count those into it. And let me hurry and add in here the last one because I can only have 10 things on our thing. So I got to hurry and add. This is where the salary cap actually stands because everybody likes to see this. Spotrac won't get it accurate this time of year. If you're counting, Tremaine Edmonds gone. This is what the salary cap will look like. All right, so 258, 645. The salary cap's been announced at 301. Our rollover into that 301 is 305. Our dead cap's 917. That's not including the dead cap I used above. DJ Moore, Drew Dalman, Tremaine Edmonds. I listed those in the spreadsheet up there, so they're not included on the dead cap here, okay? Rookie draft picks will now be $12 million. Our practice squad pool will be $4 million. On top of that, the Bears typically have more slush fund than that, $5-6 million for moves in season. That means we're rolling after Tremaine Edmonds is gone, after DJ Moore is gone, after Drew Dalman's gone, with $29,762,000 for free agents. You've got to sign another 14 players with that $29 million. That's an average of $2 million per contract. That doesn't sound like a crap ton of money to go pick up a Maxx Crosby or re-sign Kevin Byard. Or, I mean, think about it. Pick up Kevin Byard for $8 million. That leaves 13 more contracts at $21 million total. Does that sound like, I mean, I'm just laying it out here. That doesn't sound like.
Again, this is a very black and white analysis, and bravo to you for presenting the facts the way that I see to be the exact truth. But again, when we talk about an NFL salary cap, while the numbers are real, while the transactions and the moves you have to make are real, at the end of the day, that salary cap is a myth.
Yeah,
you can restructure this money. You can do some dark magic things. You can do some things. I bet that there's mechanics that have never been used before that you could have at your disposal if I was to be so bold. And again, talking from a pure place of ignorance, but at the end of the day, again, big comment that I saw earlier today, right? Can the Chicago Bears employ a roster, a full 53-man roster that features both Maxx Crosby and Tyler Linderbaum? I'd be so bold to say that yes, you could. You could figure it out. Would it screw you over in the future? Almost assuredly. But again, we're talking about a rookie quarterback who is top 5 in the Mahomes Mountain. This is your Super Bowl window. Next 2 years, if you don't win the Super Bowl, you are going to see how much harder it is to compete for that Super Bowl because you're going to be paying Caleb Williams, in a perfect world, at least $60 million a year.
Agreed. Now, I'm going to bring this back up because a lot of people, I'm going to play a little clip from it. This is from Waddle and Sylvie at the Combine. This is not Ryan Poles' official at the podium press conference. And I'm not going to bring the video up so we don't get flagged, but I'm going to play part of this clip where he actually talks about, this is the part where he talks about DJ Moore. And then they ask him about his approach to this offseason. Now, saying this, I do not believe you're going to tip your hand. You're not, and you know, I'll bet the Bears have inquired about Maxx Crosby, but I don't believe that the Bears are ready to hemorrhage the future in 2027, 2028, 2029 for one player. I don't believe that's the case. Like you said, they can absolutely have fun with the salary cap. We can take Kevin Byard and say, you want to retire as a Bear? We're going to sign you to 4 more years, and we're going to put 14 dead years on there. We're going to pay you $2 million a year, but we're going to front load a bunch. We're going to give you $20 million of it, but $2 million a year is going to come off our books for the next 20 years. I mean, they can do stuff. They can manipulate the cap, as you're saying.
Let me put this in a very simple to understand sentence here, okay? When you as the Chicago Bears have a collection of Caleb Williams, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, and Colston Loveland compiling to be in any way, shape, or form 4 of your top 10 best players on your entire roster, you're allowed to make bold moves with the salary cap.
Sure.
Because normally your quarterback, your 2 tackles, and the number 1 wide receiver, those 4 players, to my understanding, traditionally makes up 40% of your cap. And I don't even know if those 4 players that I just mentioned previously, the players on rookie contracts, I don't even know if they currently comprise 10% of this cap. So go out and be bold. I dare you. Do it.
I'm going to reemphasize. I would love to see Maxx Crosby in burnt orange and navy blue. I would be freaking elated to the moon. I would be buying his jersey. I live in Vegas. I love him in Vegas, and I'm not a Raiders fan, and I just wish he would be a Bear. I wish it. I just don't see it happening. So here's what Ryan Poles had to say real quick.
If you're playing something, Adam, I cannot hear it.
You can't hear it?
No. You might have to add it to screen, unfortunately, which I don't know. Is
All
there
right.
is there a way that you could
We're hitting on time anyways, Karl. I'm going to summarize it. This is
Okay.
8 days ago. He was asked about DJ Moore, and he didn't blatantly shut it down. He said, you know what? We have a lot of things to do because we've got to make some roster moves. Good teams have to do this where we have to get under the cap. We're not under the cap right now. So just to re-sign our own players, we're going to have to make some moves, some trades, some restructures. We're going to have to do something just to get a roster back on the field.
Adam, just to kind of accentuate that point, are the Kansas City Chiefs submitting and saying that their 2026 season is null and void because they traded away their all-pro cornerback? Abso-freaking-lutely not. The Chiefs are going to go out and try and win a Super Bowl. Good teams have these issues. It's normal.
Yeah. So what he was saying in that interview, because people asked on Twitter, where's your source of Ryan Poles saying he's not going all in on big players? He literally says this in this interview I was going to share. In fact, I'll link it in the comments after from Waddle and Sylvie. It's actually it's entitled Exclusive Combine Interview, Ryan Poles Offseason Statement After Bears NFC North Title. It's exactly 8 days ago. It's got 19,000 views. If you guys are looking for it, that's where you'll find it. But he basically says, no, we're not going to go big game hunting. We've got to re-sign some of our own players. We got to make moves just for the cap. Now, again, he's not going to tip his entire hand. I have no doubt they would put, inquiries in for Maxx Crosby. They would try to figure out how to bring in a phenomenal athlete like that. But I don't see that the path when you're looking at this. When you're looking at $29 million as now. Now, you can restructure Jonah Jackson easily. You can restructure Joe Tooney easily. You can restructure Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, but with the whole thing where Drew Dalman just retired, do you really restructure these guys, give them more guarantees? The whole retirement thing, I don't know, man. That's the thing.
I, as someone who's never played a down in his life in the NFL, please take what I'm going to say with a grain of salt. I would never question Drew Dalman's love for football.
Sure.
But if the Chicago Bears had drafted Drew Dalman, re-signed him to his first ever NFL extension, and if his father played for the Chicago Bears, Drew Dalman would be here for the next 5 years, Adam. I don't know what it was, and I'm never going to speculate as to what it was. Courtney Cronin says that this is, again, Courtney Cronin, the source of truth, right? Courtney Cronin reports that this retirement has nothing to do with injury. I don't know. It's a mysterious situation, and it's a very unique situation. Do not let Drew Dalman's behavior influence your decisions with any other football players. This feels very, very unique. I would love to know why, but at the end of the day, the truth hurts. Maybe I don't want to know why. And I again, like I said, I wish that Drew Dalman was more of a Bear. And I wish we would have won the goddamn Super Bowl this year so that he could have truly gone out on top. At the end of the day, nothing but respect for the player. If you're going to take care of your health, your body, your mind, bravo. Fantastic. You got some money. Awesome. But I would hate to say anything other than I'm disappointed in Drew Dalman in a sense. As rude and ignorant as that may sound. So I apologize, but that's my
Congrats, Ryan Poles. We only have $4 million dead from that. We're going to get back on topic of Maxx Crosby because that's what everybody's interested in right now. Karl, do you know what this is?
Oh no! Oh no!
Is
that the Rush podcast studio? Is that what we're looking at?
I am not a dick. You see how I put the black over the address. I am not ever going to dox somebody. Ever. The second this house gets listed for sale, I will let you guys know. Here's pictures from the inside. Does that look familiar? In fact, let me put from his recent post just a couple days ago. Look at the bottom.
Adam,
look at the bottom pillars right here, Karl. Look at the bottom pillars on the bottom picture.
I know. That's his couch. Yeah.
There's the bottom pillars of the same house. Maxx
Now,
Crosby,
just listen to me. Very important. Okay, I'm not going to say this on air. Do not let me leave the studio once the show ends without talking to you about this. Okay.
Okay. I understand people can go look stuff. I blacked out the address. I did not dox him.
You're already halfway there. One of my favorite SpongeBob quotes.
So, Maxx Crosby's house is not up for sale yet. That's all I'm saying. He's not up for sale. He's not halfway out the door, I don't have any insider information. I don't know Maxx Crosby personally, but somebody close to him knows that he said he has not asked for specific teams to be traded to. So any rumors you see of Maxx Crosby saying that his preferred destination is Chicago is a blatant lie and without a source, and just trying to keep people honest. That's all I'm saying, Karl. Just trying to keep people honest.
At the end of the day, I think that Maxx Crosby's relationship with the Oakland Raiders and their fan base is as strong as any player connection could have in that sense. I think that anything regarding this is beyond airtight. But if you look at the information that we have, right, go with control with what you can control. I watched a podcast for an hour where Maxx Crosby talked about Caleb Williams as if he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Very debatable. I watched Maxx Crosby talk about loyalty and about how demonstrating loyalty is putting every single thing that you can, pouring absolutely everything into the asset to maximize its value. And when I see an Oakland Raiders team hire, I can't think of the Seahawks, the old man, Pete Carroll. When I watch Oakland hire Pete Carroll, sign Geno Smith, that's not giving it everything you got. That's not pouring absolutely everything you have into the franchise.
What do you think about Clint Kubiak, though?
I think that Clint Kubiak at one point was affiliated with the Houston Texans, right?
Yeah, well, let's go most recent. He just helped the Seahawks win a Super Bowl, did he not?
I think that the Michigan man orchestrated a very financially sound defense into helping win a Super Bowl against a very, very overrated quarterback in Drake May. Anyway, I digress on that point. I have had direct conversations with Houston Texans fans, essentially our version of the Chicago Bears podcast. They have a really nice podcast. It's the Just Fans podcast, I believe. My sample size with them would indicate that Clint Kubiak is beyond garbage. So, if I had to bet money on a system with a rookie quarterback failing in the short term, it would be Oakland. I'm not betting on Mendoza and Kubiak becoming this win-it-all type scenario. And I have no idea what Maxx Crosby thinks about it because that's the conversation at hand here. I think that if Maxx Crosby got traded away out of Oakland to the Chicago Bears, he would be elated.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very confident in saying that.
How could he not want to go to a contender? He's had strife with the Raiders for years, but his direct quotes are that he can't control the offseason. People are going to talk. It is what it is. I don't think he's going to hold out from the Raiders. It's not like he's trying to force a trade. If he gets traded to the Bears, why would he not be excited? We're a couple pieces away on defense from being in the NFC Championship and potentially the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just the reality of where the Bears are. We've got a phenomenal offense. We've already proven that. Every team talks about the Bears offense like it's already set and established. The defense needs major work, and everyone's planning on that this year. And if he's a big piece of that, why would he not be excited to come to Chicago?
The one question, just to kind of really get direct about this, the one question that I keep asking myself is, how can you have Maxx Crosby, Montez Sweat, and Austin Booker on the football field when it matters, right? Not all the time, not even the majority of the time, but when it matters. If the answer is any combination of putting Montez Sweat inside and having your best defensive tackle paired up with those other two outside guys, then I think you make it work. But if the answer is, if Dennis Allen tells you, like, no, if Maxx Crosby and Austin Booker are on the field, then Montez Sweat's on the bench, or vice versa, Austin Booker's going to have to take a backseat role because we got Maxx Crosby, I don't know if you make that move. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's more work to be done on the defensive interior. Someone in here is saying, let's see here. Adam, where did it go? I was trying to pull it up, but it's being slow. Can you pull up Tyrique Stevenson's profile on Spotrac and do a live reaction to what happened? So it sounds like there's some news, but with me streaming StreamYard, it's being very slow. Tell me what's going on there, Karl.
What are you talking about?
Tyrique Stevenson, Chicago Bears, Spotrac.
Oh, it's just someone trying to help you get an exact number on that. And I know we've had a conversation before about how if a player has played a certain amount of snaps, they get an escalator.
Oh,
maybe
the
that's the
escalators
situation.
They hit at the new league year though. So here, I'll pull it up. It just popped up for me.
Maybe that's the situation that he's referring to. That's the best that I can kind of grasp of that situation.
Yeah, so maybe they're
comment, though.
comparing here my right, not that one. Maybe they're saying go compare what I have right here for Tyrique Stevenson, 2052, 113. The escalators don't. So you'll see here. Let me pull it up. Share screen. Tyrique Stevenson. Thought they were going to say he's traded or something. See here how it says estimate. So it's showing a different value for him.
Can you zoom in on that?
Yeah.
It's hard to see. If you could just
so
like
until this is
control or
official,
yeah.
I don't change it. But yeah, there may be a new price here for a couple of these guys on the final year of their contract where they've hit escalators. You get that in year 4 of your contract. That happens. They happened last year with Braxton Jones. It happened
exactly. Yes,
it happens all the time. I adjust that after the new league year. So yeah, there's some things that might even be more expensive than we were expecting before. But this is estimate, so I'm not going to change it till it's official. But yeah, I respect that you bringing that up because it is something that will affect it for sure. He says click on market value. Let's go to market value.
You might have to zoom out.
Yeah, I just did. Market value right there. 20.1 million. I don't agree. I don't agree with all of Spotrac's values here. I don't think he's earned a 20.1 million.
That is, I mean, what is Jalen Johnson making? Isn't Jalen Johnson making that much money?
Yeah, right around there. They're just saying for his starts.
I'm sorry. Like, that market value is absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
He's closer to 2 million in value than he is 20.
So these things will all change as you go throughout, and you're going to have to look at some of these things. Yeah, there's a reason the Bears are looking. I mean, how many cornerbacks did we interview at the Combine? The most of any position. We interviewed 5 cornerbacks, but they were all rounds 3 through 6. So, you know, Dennis Allen, Al Harris might be looking at their guys and saying, hey, we want to bring this guy in as our 4th round pick. We want to look at these 4th round cornerbacks as someone who could potentially replace Tyrique Stevenson next year. We still got Terrell Smith. We got Zay Frazier. There's options. It's not like we're pigeonholed on. You know, good teams have to let some of these players walk when they hit the end of their contract. You have to start letting or trade some of them away or have something happen. It's just the nature of the beast and the business of NFL for sure. All right, Karl, we're hitting up on an hour here. We try to keep it short because you got BCP. Let's see if we missed anything and see if we missed anything in the chat here. But as far as the Maxx Crosby stuff, I think my main point here is I don't see it happening salary cap wise as of right now. Would I want it? Of course. As a fan of the Bears, I want it. I want us to get every big name. I try to keep this channel as a realistic take. What's probably going to happen? I heard on CHGO earlier them saying we can get Maxx Crosby and Tyler Linderbaum and we can re-sign Kevin Byard and it's not realistic. It's fun.
It isn't realistic, but it is possible.
It's fun, it's exciting. It's not what Ryan Poles has stated. I feel bad I couldn't share it, but we were probably time-wise in a little constraint. Go watch that interview from Waddle and Sylvie 8 days ago. It's worth your watch. It's 15 minutes long. It's phenomenal. It's off-the-cuff stuff. It's not official at the presser. Ryan Poles sitting around with him and being very honest. And when they asked him about DJ Moore, he did not say, no, he'll be a Bear in 2026. It was the exact answer of what came to fruition today. It was, we got a lot of things to consider because we're over the salary cap right now. We've got to trade some guys and restructure some things just to get under the cap so we can re-sign some players to make this roster work. I mean, it's very, very honest and straightforward. So I think it's probably the best realistic take straight from the horse's mouth, Ryan Poles. When the video's over, I'll link it in the description of the video. It's the best way for people to source it. It gives Waddle and Sylvie a little bit more viewership too if people click on it from there. But do I think it's going to happen with Maxx Crosby? No, I don't. I think a more realistic take is that we're going to re-sign Joe Troyan-Sharinka, who's a phenomenal defensive end that a lot of fans didn't give a fair shake to because of his injuries, and then draft a high defensive end to compete with Montez Sweat and Austin Booker. I even think if TJ Parker's really being mocked this many times to the Bears falling at 25, TJ Parker's phenomenal at 25. You'd have to address defensive tackle with 57 or 60. I'd rather use 25 as a defensive tackle. That's been my official stance all offseason. In fact, 70% of all the professional analysts have mocked defensive tackle to the Bears this offseason. So it's probably realistic that defensive tackle is going to get addressed that way. But at the end of it, a lot of things are going to be answered 1 week from right now when free agency. It's actually 4 days from now when, the tampering period starts and you start hearing about the deals happening. in 4 days, we're going to know the Bears have signed this player, the Bears have signed this player, which means between now and then, it's only 4 days. The Bears have got to get some work done with some of their current people, with Kevin Byard, trading Tremaine Edmonds, DeMarco Jackson, some of these players we want. Those things need to be done between now and 4 days from now. This should be a very busy time. I should be coming on with updates and shorts and videos nonstop, because it's got to, I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if something, popped up on my phone right now. Bears trade Tremaine Edmonds to the Raiders for a 5th, 6th round swap, something like that. That's kind of what I expect in the next couple of days is, Kevin Byard resigning, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens, some of these backup players that are valuable. We'll see some of that should trickle down the next couple of days, in my opinion.
All I've got for you, Adam, is a couple things. I'll start with my last point for the show, which is that let's not take a very black and white approach to the draft. Don't say, okay, defensive tackle first, then defensive end, then safety, then cornerback. Screw that. Stay within the realm of reason, but do exactly what you did in 2025 in this upcoming draft. Take the best player available, period. Well, again, within the realm of responsibility and reasonable, right?
That's the same interview. I'll link it. That's the same interview where people are quoting. They're like, Ben Johnson didn't say best player available. That's the same interview where he literally said the words, they asked him, do you go, with the best player available, or do you draft for the needs that you have? And he, quote, said, you have to go best player available. You have to have yourself set up with.
That's just lip service. If you say anything different, that's really going to screw you over, in my opinion. You're kind of revealing too much. But at the end of the day, right, you don't have, and this is the discussion last year with a high draft pick, right? You don't take a tight end, a wide receiver. You don't take these positions off the board because you feel like they're not valuable, and you settle for the best player that you think is valuable, right? Oh, that we only draft defensive tackles in the top 10. Let's take a lesser player that we have a worse grade on because he's a defensive tackle. If you did that, you'd missed out on a potential Hall of Fame tight end out of the University of Michigan, right? So again, it's really simple. The draft is very, very simple. Best player available within reason. Please, for the love of God, at pick 25, don't draft Mekhi Lemon. I will put a hole in my head if you do it. Just draft the best player available, man. It's very, very simple.
What about Conception from Texas A&M?
Already have that, and he was undrafted last year. So, to kind of put a recap on today's events with DJ Moore, these whirlwinds with Maxx Crosby, you guys can listen to me as much as you want and have verification on this. It's all documented here on these YouTube Lives on Bear Down Sports. I've never really talked about a Maxx Crosby trade that didn't involve DJ Moore going to Oakland. And we don't have DJ Moore as an asset anymore. So I don't know if that's a move that you're very much interested in making anymore, because the idea for me was always you could take DJ Moore and not overvalue him, but get the correct evaluation of him, right? This rumor's going around of a Micah Parsons deal. 2 firsts and a player. Well, I really liked DJ Moore in an evaluation as a first-round draft pick. That asset, again, null and void. He's over in Buffalo now. I'm not sure I want Maxx Crosby at that price tag. So it's cool. It's awesome. I watched Maxx Crosby have a one half of football against the Bears this year that probably would be good enough on its own to put Maxx Crosby in the Hall of Fame. That's how good of a first half he had against the Bears this year. But as far as mortgaging absolutely everything for that player, I'm not sure if it makes sense at this current stage.
Yeah, I agree completely, especially with how the Bears have to build with a lot of their contracts coming up. You bring up Luther Burden, you bring up Roma Dunze, you bring up Caleb Williams, you bring up Darnell Wright, you bring up all these players. We have a lot of young players. Some of them are going to have to be re-signed, and hemorrhaging your first-round picks for the next couple of years puts you in a win-now type of mode where you're not also building for the future. Can you sign a Trey Hendrickson? Sure, that doesn't take up draft capital. I still don't see that happening with where we're at. But like we said, the salary cap is flexible. The accounting nature of me tracking the salary cap, looking that we need to sign without any restructures, that we need to sign 14 more players outside of the draft, 14 more players on top of that with $25 million, $28 million, $29 million. That doesn't compute in my head that we're signing one player to use all of that. You can restructure others. You can make things happen. I see a more pragmatic approach by Ryan Poles. We'll see. The next time we have an episode, Karl, there's going to be a slew of moves. There's going to be free agency that's hit. There's going to be a whole bunch that's happened. So next week we'll have results.
Yeah. Give me your boldest take that you've got. I don't know. This is starting really to feel really weird for me. So I'll set the table so you know what I'm kind of asking of you. I think by this time next Thursday on Bear Down Sports, we'll be talking about the Bears no longer having Tyson Bagent as their backup quarterback. It's starting to feel more and more weird to me as this is progressing, man.
Well, if you saw my mock draft yesterday morning, I do one every week. It's my midweek mock draft. I had DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, and Tyson Bagent all getting traded away. I think the Bears need the draft capital more than trading away draft capital for one player, and they can unload some salary cap with Tremaine Edmonds, DJ Moore. Backup quarterback doesn't save it. It saves us Tyson Bagent saves us $3.7 million. So it's not really unloading salary cap for him as much as getting a draft pick back. But I don't know if they're going to get the value they want for him to do that. I can see it happening with the Jets, trading up from right now 57 to 44 and trading Tyson Bagent away is almost perfect value to do that.
You just got an in real life example of what we're talking about today with the Buffalo Bills, because the Bears didn't just get a second round pick. They traded up from the 5th round to the 2nd round at the expense of DJ Moore. That is a very real thing when we talk about, right? Maybe the Bears, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy. Maybe the Bears get another 2nd round pick for Tyson Bagent at the expense of our 4th round pick.
Here was my proposal yesterday on my video. This is value. Now, that's not even Tyson Bagent in the picture. This is AI. I was trying to hurry. But this is late 2nd round, early 3rd round value to trade. It's actually it's our 3rd round value to trade up from 57 to 44. This is the same type of thing that would happen. The Jets get Tyson Bagent and our late 2nd rounder. We get there earlier. This would be their 4th pick. They've got 4 high picks.
What I would say though,
I feel
like this exact trade would not happen until the 2nd day of the NFL draft. I think that the 1st round would have to fall a certain way for both the Bears and the Jets to feel comfortable making that pick on the 2nd day of the NFL draft.
I can see the Bears trying to make it happen before the draft, and I can see the Jets saying, hey, look, we need A, B, C, and D needs, and really Ty Simpson's the only quarterback that's going to be available to us that we could have. Tyson Bagent might be a good option to have.
That is literally, that is exactly what I'm saying, right? If the Jets identify Ty Simpson as the guy that they want to come away with as their starting quarterback in 2026, and whatever the hell happens, some weird team trades up and takes him in the 1st round, that's when something falls where it's like, wow, all these quarterbacks went before the Bears are drafting. Now there's good players falling, and the Jets say, well, fuck, I don't have my starting quarterback. That's where something like this happens.
So let me pull up here New York Jets.
D. Levine, E8M. Why is that so ridiculous, buddy? Why is it so ridiculous? It's not.
Don't stress so much what people say, Karl.
People are getting feral about this in chat. It's just such a plausible argument to me.
Don't worry about it.
You scoff at it, right?
So check this out. This is where, and the Jets don't have a 3rd rounder. So think about this. The Bears jumping up from 57 to 44. That's a value of, 96 from 135. That's a value of 39. Okay, so you're saying Tyson Bagent's roughly worth a comp pick right here, 96 range. These are comp picks. So if you're thinking Tyson Bagent is a fringe 3rd to early 4th round, which is realistically probably his value, and the Jets say, hey, we're willing to spend a comp pick on Tyson Bagent to make him a competitor he could easily start for us this year. We've got him 2 years cost controlled. So we'll trade for him. I mean, they spent 2 years, $40 million on Justin Fields. You don't think they would say, hey, this guy, Ryan Poles, same interview I'm referencing, talked about how Tyson Bagent, they expected him to have some buzz, to have some trade market because of how he did in the preseason and the limited times he started. We expected that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Anybody saying that in the chat, I'm not even checking chat. Karl's doing that. Saying it's not possible for Tyson Bagent, this range for him right here, 3rd round range, that's very possible. So the Bears would move up from 57 to 44. That should make both parties very, very happy.
And Adam,
I think it's a realistic range for Tyson Bagent, honestly.
Adam, I would accept an early 5th-round pick for Tyson Bagent. I'm not overvaluing the undrafted free agent, right? That is a classic get-rich scheme if I've ever seen one. Don't even draft a player, flip him for a draft pick. That is a very quick way to get rich quick, quote-unquote. So, I understand it. We love Tyson Bagent. We understand the value of having a good quarterback. Quarterback in this economy, we'll call it, is a very hot commodity when your other options are Geno Smith and Kyler Murray. I get it. I can understand you saying, I need a second-round pick. I need a second-round pick. Guys, you didn't even get a second-round pick for DJ Moore. You had to trade a 5th-round pick just to get that second-round pick.
It's a fringe second-rounder, buddy. I'm not going to agree with you on the Tyson because the Bears aren't going to let Tyson Bagent go for anything less than that fringe, the 3rd to 4th-round range. They're not going to do it. If the Jets are sitting with 3 picks ahead of 44 and they're willing to trade back from 44 to 57, still great value, and pick up Tyson Bagent.
And I'm in full agreement with that.
I think you accept that one. I think a team, just like with DJ Moore, not everybody's going to trade for DJ Moore, but the Bills have been looking for a number 1 wide receiver with experience to pair up with Josh Allen. They've tried the draft route.
Guys,
always worked.
The Bills are building a brand new stadium. They're trying to win a Super Bowl now. That is a fantastic wide receiver that they acquired. So again, I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. At the end of the day, this Tyson Bagent stuff just baffles my mind. To come up here and say that he's worth a second-round pick, it's asinine.
It's someone's worth what people are willing to trade for them. So we might not agree. People in the chat might agree, but at the end of the day, I think this stems back to your bold prediction is what you wanted to do. Tyson Bagent won't be on the team a week from now. I actually don't feel like that's crazy. I think it's right in the realm of what the Bears need to do to try to build long-term. There's a reason they interviewed 2 quarterbacks at the Combine, both, late round picks, undrafted free agency range. There's a reason they did that. They're entertaining offers on Tyson Bagent. Whether they'll pull the trigger is whether someone's willing to say, like we're talking about, pay what the Bears are willing to part with Tyson Bagent for. If a team comes calling and is willing to give that 3rd-round comp pick range, 90 to 110 range, and in my example, which is not insider information, my example, trading up from the Jets from 57 to 44, which is phenomenal value, I think the Bears have to pull the trigger and say, yep, we'll part with Tyson Bagent.
And
we'll bring in one of these 7th-round picks or an undrafted free agent as our future quarterback. We'll re-sign Case Keenum, and we'll go.
What I'm struggling with is if you're aiming for Tyson Bagent's value to be a comp pick, and you traded Justin Fields away for nothing. Justin Fields, a quarterback that you traded up for in the 1st round because of how talented he was. And as a starter in the NFL,
apples and oranges, buddy.
Listen, as a starter in the NFL who did not look very good at throwing the football, was given a chance in Pittsburgh, did not look good in Pittsburgh, and still garnered a $20 million a year contract from the Jets, also did not look good on the Jets, and he's still going to result in a compensatory pick about the 4th-round range going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but you're saying things
Tyson Bagent is so far below that.
They're apples and oranges, brother, because Tyson Bagent's under cost-controlled contract for a couple years. The whole thing with Justin Fields, it came out that teams like the Broncos and the Raiders were looking to trade a day 2 pick for him, a late 3rd-rounder. But the Bears did right by stalling it so long and trading him to the Steelers for a 6th-round pick or whatever it was. It wasn't because the Bears were trying to garner value for Justin Fields. Totally different situations. Apples and oranges. Now, if you're going to part with a cost-controlled QB2 on your team, who other teams see as a potential QB1, who they need to see, play, that's when you have to get the value out of him. It's not like we're trading Tyson Bagent away to do right by him. Right. No, he's your backup. You're controlling the situation.
It's almost like this 4D chess mega mind shit that we're playing at this point then, because it's like, there's this perceived value that Bagent is good because of how good Ben Johnson has talked about him, and he's cost controlled. There's no way, shape, and form that in itself is worth more than what the Bears got for Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
And hogwash that the Bears could have gotten a day 2 pick, because it would be malpractice to piss that away just to do right by a player. At the end of the day, I saw it before the player was drafted. We saw it in Chicago. We saw it in Pittsburgh. We saw it in New York. The cat can't throw the football. And I don't know why it is. He has the physical God-given ability to do it.
All right,
he doesn't have the mental to do it.
We're not even going down this path. Now you're getting off the draft and trade value for Tyson Bagent. We're going to hit the super chat.
Let's go back to my original question. What is the bold take that you have?
We got to get to the super chat, Karl. David Sanchez says, I feel the DJ Moore move today is a sign the Bears are going after Linderbaum and out on Crosby. Tyler, you're still muted, Karl. You're unmuted now, so you can chime in on this one. I don't know if it necessarily points to one thing or another. I think more than anything, the DJ Moore trade signifies the Bears needed to create cap space by getting rid of his contract, and they were going to take the most value they could. It helps the team long-term to get that draft pick up to 60. I don't know if I can read tea leaves into it any more than that. The Bears have options for sure. They can go after Linderbaum. They can still go after Crosby. I think more than anything, just, dumbing it down to what it really means. They needed to get rid of DJ Moore's contract, and they got the most value they could out of it. That's what it was. Appreciate the super chat. Don't ever feel compelled to do super chats. We're not begging for super chats on here. I'm never going to drink a beer on this channel for a super chat, but do appreciate you guys when you do tip in and help for the channel.
But I might. I'm just kidding.
I'll drink a red beer, a red Bull,
a red beer. All right, Adam. Original question, like from 15 minutes ago at this
point.
Good. What's the bold take that you've got, your bold prediction to occur before our next show next Thursday?
It's not bold. I'm going to say both Tremaine Edmonds and Tyson Bagent are traded away by next week's show.
Tyson Bagent and who?
And Tremaine Edmonds.
Sure.
They're both gone. But I'm going to say my bold take is somebody that nobody is talking about is going to be our primary free agent focus.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's a defensive tackle. I can't say John Franklin Myers is going to be too expensive. I'm going to say we're going to sign Sebastian Joseph Day. That's my bold prediction. We're going to sign.
That's a good player.
Sebastian Joseph Day. Even though I think the Titans are going to try to re-sign him, especially after trading away. Who did they trade away? The Titans traded one of their defensive tackles away. So I think they'll try to re-sign him. But I think our biggest free agent signing is going to be a defensive tackle, and it's probably someone nobody's talking about because it's a mid-tier, a $10 million a year contract.
Yeah.
And I'll also say we'll have Kevin Byard re-signed by next week.
Okay. Well, I'll try and do my homework before the episode tonight. I have to get the entire episode scheduled here within the next hour, so it's not going to happen. But again, guys, read the tea leaves. Control what you can control. What's the information that you have, and go based off of that, right? We know that Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator for DJ Moore in Carolina. Wow, what a surprise. They are paired back together once again, okay? What players that are currently available or potentially available have been coached by Dennis Allen? What players have been coached by our defensive line coach? That's the type of things that we'll have to research, because I think Adam's spot on here. There is going to be a name that the Bears are pursuing that no one has ever even thought about. And I don't think it's Jonathan Allen. I know that Montez Sweat, the way that Montez Sweat talked to Jonathan Allen, it almost felt like Jonathan Allen was Montez Sweat's literal father with the amount of respect that he had. So if that's a name that we sign and go after, sure, I'm not opposed to it. But just think about what we can think about.
This fits right in that range, and he and Montez Sweat played really well together.
Go watch. It's either Montez Sweat or Jonathan Allen, one of those two. There's a mic'd up video on the Redskins YouTube channel. Look up that video and tell me that they don't want to be teammates. They literally almost love each other. Yeah, Cam Jordan. Yeah. It's a fantastic shout, Howie. And me and holy shit, my brain is scatterbrained right now. Bearski Film, David from Bearski Film. We were talking about Cam Jordan this time last year.
Yeah.
So,
a couple names we keep talking about over and over again. I love it. Chad Speakers, again, you guys as well. Thank you for the super chat. Jonathan Allen could be a great fit. So if it's that one, we'll say that Chad Speakers broke it right here. That's a fun one. I can see that happening too. But yeah, that's going to be my prediction. Our big name signing in free agency isn't going to be the edge like everybody thinks it is. It's going to be a defensive tackle. Jonathan Allen. Somebody else named somebody else too. There's a bunch that I've gone through here, but Cam Jordan, Calais Campbell. Old man Campbell, 40 years old now.
I don't know, guys. There's all these names that are circulating in this chat right now. I don't know if that's Bradley Chubb, Nick Chubb. the Jalen Phillips, the guy who the Dolphins traded to Philadelphia. I mean, guys,
I'll see.
I don't know if we go for like a good defensive end because it doesn't make sense when you
there's my
evaluate the
bold
other
pick.
needs that you need.
I'm going to boldly pick that the big edge that we re-signed is Joe Troyan-Shoyinka.
I mean, that's not very bold, and someone did bring to light exactly
Sure it is.
words you had on that. He is not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination. He's probably the.
Oh, is Karl still talking? Go ahead, Karl. I'll let you finish.
I actually noticed that I was muted there. What I'll say is that I think that Joe Troyan-Shoyinka is the 5th best defensive end on a Super Bowl winning roster. That's my bold statement, my Jag statement.
That's terrible. Here, let's see.
I mean, he's a good role player, but for an end of the first round type of guy to be where he's at, I mean, he's nothing short of a bust, man. He's just a Jag.
Carlito, how dare you be so disrespectful? Who had the highest pass rush win rate last year for the Bears?
According to Chris Collinsworth platform, I couldn't tell you. That's a roll of the die.
16.9% pass rush win rate by Joe Troyan-Shoyinka. That's top 20% that's top 10% in the NFL.
God, you know what?
Top 10%.
Let's
and
get
his
a
pass rush, his run stop on defense, 10.3%. Top 5%.
Figures lie, and liars figure. That's what I got for you. That's my knowledge I'll bless on you today, chat.
Top
you know what,
5%.
True Pilgrim? 144K? Get your sorry butt on the
Hey, Karl, appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys. Great episode. Till next time, the Bears. Karl, why aren't you talking?